Today on the Region Free Gamers podcast, sometimes the best defense is more defense. Hello everyone, welcome to the Region Free Gamers podcast, the podcast fluent in gaming. My name is Paul Romalo, and with me today, setting up our defenses against the Orc Horde, Kelly Branford.
You didn't even know I had my Horde hoodie on here today, too. So,
oh my god, seriously?
For the Horde, for sure, yes. So you could say I'm representing Blizzard or I'm representing Xbox. I guess we can go either way with that right now,
Well,
right?
I mean, they're one and the same now.
Exactly.
Hoi!
And also with me, the hero who picks up the slack where our defenses fail, Mike Doucette.
I am the right size for a tank, now that I think about it. Like, let's face it, if I'm cosplaying in Overwatch, I'm the guy with the shield and the hammer. I'm the Thor ripoff, the old Thor.
I love those classes in those games, like Overwatch in particular, because I feel like they require the least skill, and I feel the most useful. I just kind of plod forward, drop shields, and it's great. Like I feel like a superstar.
Yeah.
But anyhow, before we get to today's topic, I just want to give a big thank you to all our listeners, everyone watching us on Twitch today, who are already making me laugh, and especially our patrons and everyone on the Region Free Discord, who, as usual, enables my terrible spending habits. Although, to be fair, I think I bought like 2 games in January on the Nintendo eStore or Steam. It's actually been a very I know it's been a quiet month. I haven't gone nuts on the retro stuff. I did buy 3 $15 games yesterday at Walmart because like I was there, so I had to. But other than that, it's been quite quiet. So
were they clearance or sale games?
Clearance, yeah, they were 15 bucks a piece. So like I don't know,
nice.
like $1 American each or something like that.
Yeah,
something like that.
Exactly. It was like getting bubble gum. Also, I just want to give a big shout out to our newest patron, Retro Overdrive. And fuck man, we do so many episodes with Retro Hangover that in the intro where I have my notes written here, I actually wrote Retro Hangover and I almost fucking said it out loud. So I don't know if you noticed the little pause there where I was like Retro Overdrive.
Yes.
There we go. Yeah, just a little.
Oh man,
Retro Overdrive. Thank you so much, Retro Overdrive.
I know, very much appreciated. We've been talking to folks in Discord about how we're spending their money and how it's really actually helping us out quite a bit. So it's very much appreciated. And so yeah, if any of you out there listening would like to get in touch, join our Discord or our Patreon, you can do so via our link tree. And that's linktr.ee/regionfreegamers. And that'll point you to pretty much everything RFG related. And, if you'd like to further lend us a hand, you can drop a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Or, even better, tell a friend about the show. So, again, thanks, everybody. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Before again we get on today's topic, I gotta say, so we're on Discord. And Mike is sending pictures of all this anime that he bought, including, is it Shin Getter Robo Armageddon or is it Getter Robo Armageddon?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Shin Getter Robo Armageddon. I'm pretty sure too. But most people just say Getter Robo Armageddon. Do we want to get into my anime? Because I'm still on pins and needles about your $15 purchases. I still want to know what they are.
Are you serious?
What'd you get? Yeah,
what'd you get? They're $15 purchases.
I don't care. What'd you get?
That could be like $60 games that have been marked down to that. We don't know.
I'm pretty sure they're not. Christy was at Walmart with me, but she was not within 50 fucking feet of the video game section at any time.
You're like, look what I got, Christy. And she says, I put it in the cart. And you're like, okay.
we went to Home Hardware first, and so because I'm a small child, every once in a while we'll go to anywhere with like high aisles. Sorry, like sometimes you walk through an aisle at a store and you can see over the top shelf. You can see people, like you can see the top of their heads on the other side. Most places though, you can't. It's like a wall of goods, right? And so because I'm a small child, I don't know why I do this, but I try to hide from her. Like I'll wait until she looks the other way, and then I'll slip around a corner. And so we're at Home Hardware yesterday, and she looks the other way, and I slip around a corner and I walk really fast. Can you believe 2 employees ratted me out? They like
wait.
They told her.
They were like, he's over here.
Yeah, like not one but 2 went up to her, and they were like, yeah, he went around the corner there.
Well, they were worried about you. They thought, oh no, he's all by himself. He's alone. Like he might get sad or something. Maybe he's lost.
Maybe they thought there was something wrong with me, and she was like looking after me.
Oh man.
Anyway, $15 games. I got The Last Guardian.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was there, and it was 15, so I got it. I don't even know how interested I am, but like,
I am so happy Kelly and our reactions was that was so funny. Like, I'm sorry, it was so funny. Like Kelly's like, oh, and I'm like,
I mean,
sorry.
I have the game too. It's still sealed over here on the shelf.
Of course it is.
So.
Oh man, yeah. Have you played it before?
I have not. All I know is that it's very Shadow of the Colossus, like, pseudo sequel kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's good enough for me to spend a small amount of money on it. Speaking of The Last Guardian, I got The Last Guardian, the remaster for the PS4. I'd been avoiding buying it for the longest time.
Oh, Shadow of the Colossus, you mean?
Did I say? Oh my god, what an idiot!
You said The Last Guardian again.
It's a game so nice, I bought it twice.
Right.
No, Shadow of the Colossus I got as well. I have the PS3 re-release of Ico/Shadow of the Colossus. So I had been avoiding purchasing the remaster on the PS4 because I'm like, I already got it on PS3, and I hate, me, I hate buying the same game twice. But
Oh, me too.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Kelly. But I justified it in my head yesterday by saying it's not Ico and Shadow of the Colossus on PS3. It's just Ico, and then this is like a better version of Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh.
So.
It's honestly, it's beautiful. The remaster of, I almost want to get it because it looks insane. Yeah. Like it really, Blue Point were heads on that, and they did such an awesome job. It's incredible. There's also a real, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it was just, there's a really cool, they added a really wonderful Easter egg in that game for like really hardcore fans that kind of, I don't want to spoil it, but it was kind of incomplete in the original game, and they kind of completed it. It's
right
cool.
on.
It's really nice. It's like this really beautiful kind of, you can find videos, you can find a couple good think pieces online of it that really dissect it, but it's kind of special when you think about it, because the fan base for that game is like,
oh yeah, man.
Unreal.
Yeah. I gotta ask Ozzy if he has seen it. So quickly, because Raph is asking in chat, is it pronounced Ico or Ico? Ico, right? Yeah, that's Kelly. Yeah. Are we in agreement?
I always thought Ico, so
unanimous. It's Ico.
Yeah. Not that it fucking matters. It doesn't matter. But I think it's Ico. Now I'm not so.
I know.
Sure.
Now I'm not so sure.
Kelly fucked me.
Now we're gonna have to look it
all up. So sorry, Paul. I totally interrupted.
No, man, dude. It's not welcome to the Region Free Gamers monologue. It's. It's a conversation.
So Last Guardian, Shadow of the Colossus, that's
and
awesome.
Kingdom Majestic. So like the complete kind of version of Kingdom with all the bells and whistles and so on. I literally like wasted time in the store that could have been spent doing anything else by pulling up my phone, logging into my Steam account, and seeing if I already had purchased Kingdom on Steam.
Oh,
because I had to spend 5 to 10 minutes doing trying to justify a $15 purchase. I am such a goddamn cheapskate, man. This is like
no, I've been there.
You do know they have a return policy, right? So you could have purchased it and then.
Oh my God, Kelly, my time and the amount of gas it takes and everything is worth way more than the $15.
Agreed.
And I go to Walmart honestly like twice a year, if that. You know what I mean? Like we basically go there when we want something that we can't find anywhere else. It's like the Amazon of local shops, so to speak, right? So anyway, Yeah, those are my 3 games. Mike, Shin Robo.
Oh my god, man. So Shin Robo and I have like a really funny history because like I not to get too personal, but you know, everybody, your interests come in waves, right?
Yeah.
And some of them are just a constant storm of waves crashing against you, like that debilitates you for life, like video games. But anime for me was waves. The first wave was when I was a kid, and I saw like Akira and, you know, Ghost in the Shell, and I was like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing ever. And then I watched the Devilman dub, and I'm like, this is the greatest. They swear and everything. and then the second wave was. The second wave was when I was in teacher's college. So like right around college age, because that's when DVDs, like ADV films and stuff like that, were like starting, and it was like $40 to get 3 episodes.
Oh my god, it drove me nuts.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, dude. And so that era I have a lot of nostalgia for, because it was kind of the last era before I had to really, you know, be an adult. Oh man, I could barely get that out without laughing. And so one of them I bought on a whim at a Giant Tiger, which is basically the equivalent of a Canadian Tire in the States. And it was Shin Robo Armageddon, like the whole collection, for like $10. Because it was at this Giant Tiger. Good. And I was like, I don't like mecha anime. Mecha anime is for kids. Like, this is lame. I like mature stuff like Cowboy Bebop. I love Cowboy Bebop, but I'm just saying. And then but then I watched it, and I was like, this is the most balls to the wall, action-packed, insane overdrive, everything maxed out to 11. All the characters look like they're in a seizure at all times. They're screaming at the top of their lungs. It's super violent. It's like really dark. And I'm like, what? I don't understand. It looks like an old mecha anime like Transor Z, but they're all killing each other and the world is ending. And what's going on? And so it changed so much. And and like literally, I mean, dude, and it's funny how it just like, it like, what's the word I'm looking at? It was like subterfuge, man, because my Twitch stream chat name is Ryoma Duder, and that's Ryoma from Shin Robo. But if you asked me a couple years ago, I would have been like, oh yeah, I just named it after this anime. And it was almost like part of me hadn't really clicked in. It was like, don't you understand how much it affected you, how much you love it? And so when I got it again, and I'm like, get to the hook, and I'm just like, this is the greatest thing ever. I want to watch this forever, over and over again. But yeah, and you know, I picked up Raxaphon. I guess I'm saying that right. That's another another mecha show. Yeah, that picked up Burst Angel, which might be terrible, but
it's got a name that doesn't inspire confidence.
Yeah, it might be terrible. It looks like Trigun with ladies. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. It was just, you know, it was there, and I'm like, look, it's hype. I'll try it out. And Bubblegum Crisis, the 2040, the second series, not the initial series. And I was like, cool, all right, let's do it. So I'm gonna look for some more today, because man, DVDs, it's going the way of the dodo, man. Like buying them in stores, like. I was looking around yesterday at like FYE and Newbury Comics and stuff, and all the places you used to be able to go. And don't get me wrong, I know we all knew this was coming and that this isn't news, but it is always kind of shocking when you go and you're like, hey, do you guys have any DVDs at all? Like anything? And they're like, no.
Yeah. And the thing is,
and I'm like, wow. Okay.
A lot of these old shows you can't find on streaming, right? Like, I would love to find the old ADV releases of City Hunter, because I can't. Oh my god! I can't find City Hunter on any streaming service. Like, Kelly, am I? Yeah. You're.
I haven't.
Yeah, you haven't seen it, eh? God damn it!
No, I should have.
I need to crowdsource this question.
They are starting to put a lot of the like late '90s anime TV series. I've noticed on Crunchyroll.
I have noticed that as well. Yeah. But sadly, I'm even older than that. So something like City Hunter.
There's just something about those old, and I've said it I bored everybody to tears with it here and on Discord about, there's just something about those big chunky DVD cases, like Like Raxiphon especially, dude, the layouts are so beautiful. It's like a work of art. They come in these white cream cases. The inserts are like 30-page booklets full of concept art that have like semi-transparent pages. And I'm just like, what is happening? Like, it's so beautiful. And then you look at the Blu-ray and it's like a barely held together piece of plastic that they cram 10 discs in with like a cover page that has a couple screen caps, and they go, watch the anime, idiot. Like,
where's the love? Where's the love? I know. Oh man.
Yeah, and the back is just pictures too. There's no like I used to spend hours just reading the back of the cases just to see what anime was what. And now it's just a picture, and you better know what you're getting before you pick
Seriously?
it up.
Seriously? I hadn't even seen that because I haven't looked at the back of a box in forever. They don't even have a description of what it is?
No, I gotta ask you guys. I gotta ask you guys something. I'm sorry, and then I'm sorry.
I hope you are. This is not a podcast for questions.
I know. So I bought a DVD. Of a show called Bastard.
Yes,
that's just Bastard.
Dark Schneider.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Dark Schneider. Oh my God. Okay, so you know this. Okay, Kelly, have you heard? Kelly, you've heard of it, right?
I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen much of it.
Really, Kelly? That was like from your era. That was when you were all over it, and it was a fan sub too.
Okay, so get this. Okay, I wish I had it in my hand. I'd read it, but the back of the case is like, Dark Schneider is this badass guy. He was captured, and now he has to help the very people who captured him against these evil people. And it literally sounds like this, like it's written, and he's all like, but he's got to watch out for his sexy ex-girlfriend who's part of the village. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'm going to watch this. This is going to be really stupid. So I was watching it with Arnie, and we're watching it, and we're like, where the fuck is Dark Schneider? Like, there's just some kid. There's some, like, annoying kid, and there's, like, a girl taking care of him. All right, whatever. And then all of a sudden, she kisses the kid. You know where I'm going with this already. She kisses the kid, and then the kid turns into Dark Schneider. Yeah. And I'm like, no, they didn't. And then after Dark Schneider like opens a can of whoop ass on all these people, he's about to go ham on everybody because he's evil. And then she kisses him again, and he turns back into a kid. Yeah. And I was like, they didn't say this at all. They didn't say it at all on the back that half of the show was gonna be, oh, the kid doesn't know he's Dark Schneider, and they're gonna turn him back and forth between that wacky hijinks because they have to kiss him.
But that's not selling. That's not selling people on it, right?
I know. I love it though. I love it. Like just the back, no mention of that. It's just Dark Schneider.
I'm starting to remember some of this from the description. Yeah. Isn't it like only a few episodes?
Yeah, it's not long at all.
Oh yeah. It's like yeah. The first episode's called The Explosive Wizard, and I'm like, yeah, man, hell yeah, dude. Anyway,
he loves his Mexican food. Loves his Mexican food, the Explosive Wizard.
Right, yeah.
Anyhow, hey, topic.
Hi-yo, that's us.
Oh, man. So anyway, today's episode, what I think is the most disrespected genre. Now, I'm sure there are more disrespected genres out there. Maybe the visual novel. But that's not even like really a game, so to speak. It's so hard to even like, you know what I mean?
It depends on the that's for another episode.
Exactly.
Oh man, yeah, I know. I was like, oh man, that is so interesting take. Okay, cool.
But I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of a more disrespected genre, and a genre that personally I have put more hours into over the last 10 years than certainly more hours than fighting games, which is a well-respected genre. I've put more hours into this genre than puzzle games, which, you know, I could take it or leave it. And that's tower defense games. I love tower defense games. And when our dear patron Andrew came to me and said, yo, we need a tower defense episode stat, I could not have been happier. Because I've been keeping my love of tower defense games deep inside because I didn't want to lose my cred.
No way. Let it show.
Oh no,
man.
This is gonna be the next 2 hours of me showing everything.
I know. I know, I'm excited.
So yeah, tower defense games, and I know you two enjoy your tower defense games. Kelly, I still kind of regret it. Like, ever since you said your husband played Defender's Quest, Valley of the Forgotten, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he's actually played that game. Because, like, there's nobody else even remotely close to me who I know who has played that game. And lo and behold, of course, Husbando has played it. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, he's huge into those.
Well, what about you? Like, what's your favorite one?
I'm simple. I like Plants vs. Zombies. Come on.
Well,
now.
that's
a great
I know
game.
It's a great game.
Great.
Like, you can't argue with Plants vs. Zombies. What is it about it?
Yeah,
the simplicity. For me, because I really didn't play too many tower defense games until Plants vs. Zombies, and I had an iPad, and I wanted a game for the iPad.
Yeah.
So it was just the absolute perfect game to just sit there and play while watching TV or anything else. It was just great for that. And that's when I think of tower defense, I think of sitting there on an iPad while doing something else at the same time. So.
I also think of sitting there with an iPad, because when I got hired at my current employer, I had already been playing tower defense games like on Adobe Flash, on armorgames.com or like Congregate or those kind of sites from back in the late 2000s. And they gave me an iPad to study the coursework, right? Because my job involved, like a year of training and a lot of memorizing stuff, coursework, etc. So they're like, here's an iPad. I immediately downloaded like every tower defense game that was available, because the iPad really actually was kind of the perfect method for this genre. Like, you're just touching the screen and moving stuff around, and like I don't think that's a small reason. I think it's a big reason why Plants vs. Zombies was so effective. It gave people something to do with those iPads, and of course, like on mobile devices. I'm not saying that, I'm not discounting that at all, because really it's the phones that matter. But anyway, we'll get to that in a moment. Mike, what about you? Favorite?
So it's funny because like I haven't played too many tower defense games, and so this was like a really cool opportunity for me to like really dive deep into this genre. So again, thank you, Andrew, because this was really cool for me to kind of check out a bunch of new stuff. And so, but for me, the one that I remember playing and enjoying the most was probably Iron Brigade / Trenched, which is a Double Fine game. And that was kind of my introduction to it when that came out as a genre. And, for me, it's more that like the hybrid approach, I think, was a good way to ease me in. I think if it had just been a straight tower defense game at that time, I don't think I would have been sort of ready for it. I'm not sure I would have understood it or got into it, but Trenched was like this really cool hybrid of this third-person shooter, and it's, it has that Double Fine charm and great writing, and it's just really fun. So that was that for me.
Right on.
Like, that was kind of my intro to it, yeah. So I'd probably say that's probably my favorite, but now that I'm kind of really dipping my toes in the water with it, I don't know, man. Like, we'll see. I'm sure that's going to get dethroned. I can already tell you that some of the stuff we're going to talk about today, the more I think about it, maybe it will dethrone it.
Me too, because like my first one was Kingdom Rush, and for the longest time, Kingdom Rush has been my favorite tower defense series. It's very simple, very straightforward, very polished, and it was back on armorgames.com. Like, a buddy of mine was like, "Yo, have you played Kingdom Rush? Like, have you been to Armor Games?" And I was like, "No, why would I do that? Why would I go play Flash games, you idiot?" But I did, and it was like, dude, I was there for like 2-3 hours that first time. It was ridiculous. And then I never looked back, and I looked for every freaking tower defense game I could possibly play. So Kingdom Rush is, the sequel, Kingdom Rush Frontiers, I'd say that one's probably my favorite. I've spent so much time with that game on the iPad specifically. And it's just so well balanced, and we'll talk about it after. Anyway, I'm getting into like, details on the. Yeah, we're just gonna talk about it later. So anyway, so just a quick, for those of you who might be wondering, like, what exactly is a tower defense game? How did these games happen? It's kind of fascinating. Just to give you kind of like a breakdown of what it is for those of you who don't know. just think of a real-time strategy game, right? Think of your Warcraft 3, your Command and Conquer, your StarCraft, obviously. Can't believe I didn't lead with that. But there's no base building, so you don't build a barracks, and then you don't build a factory and all this stuff that kind of develops your tech tree and so on. There's none of that. It's very much simplified in that way. You don't kind of wait to build up a large force and then overwhelm the enemy like you do in an RTS. You're strictly playing defense. That's it. There is no offense. Sometimes when the enemies attack, they follow a set path, but some tower defense games also, depending on where you place your towers, you can actually path the enemies to where you want them to go so that they can take maximum damage, depending on the game. And we'll get into that in a bit as well. Often in these games, there's also a single, unless you're playing co-op, then there might be two, but often there's a single kind of controllable hero that you move around, and the hero kind of plugs up your defenses wherever your towers might be weak. Every one of these games, and I think you guys will correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think I've ever seen a tower defense game that didn't have some kind of tech tree or, bonuses that you unlock. Am I off base here?
There's always a sort of progression element to it, whether that's like a binary one where it's, it could be like a binary thing where it's like after every round, you can pick one of two options, or maybe it's like a consistent one where there's a currency that you build up and you unlock stuff as you go, or it's like limited. Yeah. But I don't know, Kelly, it makes sense to me, but I don't know.
I've got to agree with that. All of them that I've played, I've definitely seen that going on.
And we know how addictive the idea of the tech tree can be. So they're in there for a reason. Yeah. And generally speaking, with these games, you have kind of a different variety of enemies. So some will be strong against or immune to certain towers while weak to others. And that kind of encourages players to think, to use a little bit of strategy, and to kind of experiment, because you don't want a game where you have one strategy that works every time. Like, okay, I'm just going to use the Gatling gun tower because that kills everything. That's boring, right? Yeah, you want different stuff. So the history of the genre is weird, man. It's weird. Like I went online and I'm looking, and they say the first era is Missile Command, which I guess so. Like Missile Command, you're kind of moving a trackball around and you're aiming manually.
True.
Yeah.
And when I think of tower defense games, I think of a game where I do as little work as possible, which means like no aiming.
What's interesting is that it's not actually the aiming, it's the fact that like what you're firing is just a bullet. It's like a predetermined missile, whereas in a tower defense game, what you're firing, quote unquote, is an AI unit that acts according to some kind of algorithm or subroutine, and that will have some kind of impact on what the enemy is and blah, blah, blah. Like there's a conflict there somehow. Somehow there's a tug of war. Whereas with Missile Command, it's just boom, you're dead. Like that's it. Like there's no tug of war. It's just a win button, right?
Yeah.
By the way, not talking shit about Missile Command.
No.
Fucking
Missile Command. I have no beef with Missile Command at all. Like that was a groundbreaking game, and even still today, I could look at it and be like, this is fun. It's simple. But can we all agree here that the internet is wrong and that Missile Command is not a tower defense game?
I don't think it. It's kind of weird.
Okay. All right. So I'm glad this is a groundbreaking episode. We're just taking the internet.
So let's go and edit that Wikipedia and take it off there.
I'm just gonna go on the wiki. Region Free Gamers. Kelly made an adjustment this year. The newspaper headlines, MSN.com, it's going to be like, Region Free Gamers say Missile Command is a tower defense.
Gamers revolt.
It's not, though. It's not. I mean, it's not.
No, I agree.
I understand, because there's a thing that you're defending, but it's sort of a take on Space Invaders more than anything else. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like a weird inverse Space Invaders.
I'm glad we brought this up. So they have, and another thing, so the second era. Now, they cite Rampart, but like, okay, first of all, and I should have asked this beforehand, but have either of you played Rampart, first of all?
I have not.
I have not
that's
played
fine.
Rampart.
That's fine. I'll tell you right now, Rampart is not a tower defense game. They have it listed, but like, Rampart's a weird game, man. Like, I think we're gonna have to play it sometime if we get together this summer, all of us, because it is the most bafflingly fun game. Like I remember playing it when I was a teenager with my cousin, and it's got a weird cover. There's like a medieval dude and he's shouting at you. And it just says Rampart. And when you load it up, it looks like trash. Like the graphics are awful. Yeah. And we're like, what is this? The music's terrible. It's a Tengen game, right? So they have like the stock Genesis, that they gave to Sega, that they gave to American developers. Yeah. So it sounds like trash.
Yeah.
And then we started playing it and we're like, what the hell is this? Why is this so much fun? You just kind of have two castles and you place guns within enclosed areas. And there's two separate kind of game modes. There's a game mode where you take a cursor and you fire your cannons at the other tower and break up their walls. And then there's a second, which is the second mode, which is like the build mode, where the game gives you Tetris pieces. I kid you not, they're Tetris pieces. Yeah. And you repair the holes in your castle walls with Tetris pieces. And then you can place guns again if the walls are, repaired. If they're not, then you lose, right? And so, yeah, it's incredible fun. I was shocked, absolutely shocked, given, the outward appearance of this game, just how fun it was. Not a tower defense game, though. It's weird. You're kind of firing with a cursor and so on. So I know neither of you have played it, so I'm going to single-handedly just say the internet is wrong again. Rampart. Oh, man. Not a tower defense game.
You can do the editing on that one. I'll do the editing on Mr.
Very good. Very good.
We're rewriting history.
Yeah,
You are watching history.
Unprecedented. Now, there are a few here in this second era that they talk about that are actually okay. I think we've got it here. Fort. I don't know if you guys remember the Fort Condor mini game in Final Fantasy VII. That's legit. You're placing units. And the units, as you said, Mike, due to some predefined algorithm, will defend an area, and you just kind of plug holes and enemies attack, and that's all well and good. Mm-hmm. And then you've got this and then at the end of this second era, and this is where it really kind of starts, is with Warcraft 3, which, by the way, has there ever been a game that has given birth to more genres than Warcraft 3? Because you've got Dota, right? That's a Warcraft 3 mod. Then you've got Tower Defense, which is a Warcraft 3 mod. Dude, Warcraft 3, like low-key MVP for just creating new games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know about like if you're talking about genres, like different genres, I would think so, yeah. Because I know some people might look at the Source engine or they might look at Counter-Strike or something, but it's not that just created a bunch of really crazy first-person IPs, not necessarily like completely different genres and takes on things.
No, so low-key Warcraft 3. So most notably from Warcraft 3, Element Tower Defense and Gem Tower Defense, those came out in 2006, and those kind of gave birth to the explosion to follow. Also, shout out to Dune 2, released.
Oh, man.
Because Dune 2, I think, released... I'm going to say 91. I'm not 100% sure, but we're going to have a Dune 2 episode coming up over the next few months here. But that's basically the grandfather of the modern RTS, real-time strategy game. And when I play, like back when I used to play Dune 2, I used to just spend hours watching my towers mow down enemies. Like literally, just sit there for hours and just watch it over and like slack-jaw drooling. Oh, this is great. And that kind of is what tower defense games remind me of, is going back to Dune 2.
Dune 2 is, it's hard to kind of, unless you're like old like Paul and I, it's hard to understand. Like it was a sea change, man. Like Dune 2 was a big deal. Like it came out and it's one of those games where it's so interesting because it wasn't like Dune 1. It wasn't even Dune 1, let alone like an original IP. It was Dune 2. Yep. And it ended up being this just massive because of the kind of way that they put the game together, and the gameplay mechanics and design were just so different and fresh that was what just kind of permeated everything. And it really was one of those games where at the time everybody was playing it. Everybody was playing.
And it wasn't immediate either. Like it wasn't like a bomb dropped. It was kind of like this word of mouth, slow. Anyway.
Crazy game.
Dune 2 episode coming.
Oh, yeah.
So the third era here that we're citing for tower defense games, this is where it all kind of starts. This is where I get into it. This is where you guys get into it, and where most people get into it. And really, it's, and this is why it's disrespected, in my opinion, because it starts out with Adobe Flash and smartphones, right? This is kind of not the perfect genre for phones, but it's really good. Like they play really well on a small screen. Sometimes I find that my fat fingers will, click on the wrong unit or what have you. But for the most part, and for something like Plants vs. Zombies, not an issue, by the way, because like the characters, the selection, everything is so big and easy to click on with your finger. It's great stuff. But yeah, it starts in earnest in 2007. I think the first one was Gem Tower Defense, and that would have been in January of 2007. But definitely the most influential game, and you guys may have heard of this one even before this episode, Desktop Tower Defense. That one, March 2007, and that was the one. That was the one that really kind of got the snowball rolling down the hill and caused the avalanche.
It's like early and an interesting take when it's just called Desktop Tower Defense. Like that's the name of the game, desktop fighting game. There, let me just put it that way, and that kind of gives it desktop RPG. Imagine that. Like, wow.
Extremely utilitarian, but also apt. I love because it. basically the screen, it's so ridiculous because like the background has absolutely nothing kind of to do with the game itself, but the background is a desk, like the top of someone's desk. So I think there's like a computer mouse, like pens. I can't even remember what it looks like, but it's basically just a desk. And then you have these little enemies who kind of follow a path that you build. It's got pathing, basically, is what I'm saying. Whenever you place towers, you're funneling enemies into areas that are advantageous to you. But from what I remember, there wasn't really any interaction with the environment. It was just kind of like a desk. And so it's called Desktop Tower Defense. So here we are.
So do these people work at Square now? Project Triangle Strategy.
The
Traveler.
Hire this man.
Yeah. Square, hire this man.
Oh man, I am excited for Triangle Strategy though. Like even just to talk about it and say the words over and over, I'm excited for it. But I'm actually excited for the game itself. Anyway, don't want to get too far down into that tangent. So that's kind of our little introduction into what tower defense games are. As I mentioned before, Desktop Tower Defense, Adobe Flash, that's kind of where it all rolls from. And we're kind of going to start from that point onward when we're talking about these games and which ones you should play. So we'll take a break, and when we come back, more of these fantastic, disrespected games. And we are back. So let's start out with our just straight normal, what we consider normal tower defense games. They might have pathing, where your tower placement determines where the enemies go, or they might not. But I think if you're looking to get into the genre, this might be the place to start. I know Mike mentioned Iron Brigade, but that's kind of more of a hybrid, and we'll get to those later. But these are basically top-down view. Enemies follow a predetermined path, and then you place the correct towers and the correct defenses, and hopefully you stop the enemies from reaching your crystal or your castle or whatever other object the game has determined is extremely important and has to be protected at all times. And I think we can start out with, I don't know if this is my favorite, because I was playing it lately and I forgot just how good and fun and how ridiculous it is. And that's Bloons. Bloons Tower Defense. Right. Bloons. Not balloons. Bloons.
Bloons.
And this one was released August 2007. So it's really, really early in that Flash era. It's one of the first after desktop tower defense. This one developed by Ninja Kiwi out in New Zealand. And eventually it was ported over to Steam. I know, right? Ninja Kiwi, New Zealand. Eventually ported over to Steam, but started its life out as a Flash game. This is easily Ninja Kiwi's most successful game. They've made some other games, but really Bloons is the foundation upon which the Ninja Kiwi empire has been built. Now, unlike pretty much almost every other tower defense game out there, it doesn't have traditional enemies of a sort. What it has balloons. Balloons follow the path, and then you have monkeys, and the monkeys throw darts at the balloons. It's completely ridiculous.
Monkeys.
And it sounds like, oh wow, this is for children, Paul. What are you even talking about? And it's like, no, it's so much more than that, because the balloons have different properties. Some of them take more than one dart to pop. Some of them are made of iron, so you have to deploy monkeys that have cannons in order to kill the iron balloons. Some of them are camouflaged, and oh my god, my monkeys can't see them, but the ninja monkey can.
Oh my god.
And so you have to deploy the ninja monkey, and the ninja monkey fires shuriken, and then you can upgrade the ninja monkey, and he fires multiple shuriken.
Oh, cool.
Oh my goodness, it's fantastic.
Dude, ninja monkeys?
Ninja monkeys.
I mean, oh my god.
It's
game of the year every year.
And when you get, and the original one, like, look, let's not kid ourselves. If you're going to play Bloons today, you start off with Bloons TD Tower Defense, Bloons TD 6. They've made 6 iterations of this game. You just start off with the 6th one. Like, there's no storyline.
Yeah.
There's nothing to follow in the previous ones. Just play the best version of the game. And it's fantastic. Like, Bloons TD 6, we've got submarine monkeys. We've got helicopter monkeys. We've got boomerang monkeys. The boomerang monkeys are so satisfying. Hey, there we go. The Breaker's in chat, and he says Bloons is probably my favorite tower defense game. I'm saying, like, I don't. You're not getting laughed out of the room for saying that. The boomerang monkey is so satisfying because you can upgrade your boomerangs. Again, tech tree. The monkeys can all be upgraded, and they have different powers. And you can upgrade the boomerang so that it turns into a glaive that bounces off of balloons and hits other balloons. And it's so good. It's so good.
So good.
And let's not forget the most important monkey of all, the super monkey.
Super monkey.
Wait, there is
a super monkey.
Does he have a
what does he do?
Superhero cape?
He wears a superhero cape. He's got like superhero tights. And
so good.
And he fires darts like a machine gun. Like, imagine if Superman, like, you've seen Superman in the movies, right? And he's got super speed and all that. Imagine if Superman was just throwing darts. And that's how fast the super monkey is throwing darts.
Oh, dude, super monkey. He's so OP. Does he have any weaknesses?
He doesn't.
Oh,
what?
Damn. No kryptonite for him.
No.
Can you just build Super Monkey like 50 times and just destroy everything?
Not only can you build... Now, don't get me wrong. Super Monkey's expensive, right?
He's expensive. He doesn't just come out to any...
No, he's not. Okay. Yeah, dude, you have to be worthy of the Super Monkey.
Yeah, you got to...
So every time you pop a balloon, you get $1, right?
I love it.
And every time you finish a level in Bloons, you get $100. And then you take that money and you spend it to hire more monkeys. Okay.
How many dollars is a super monkey?
Super monkey is $2,500.
$2,500 for a super monkey appearance?
Unless you build a monkey village, and then within the radius of the monkey village, any monkeys that you place can cost 10% less. So
it's a discount.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then super monkey costs like $22.50. Or what have you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other thing about Bloons and other games will do this to, varying degrees, various degrees of success, but Bloons really nails this balance. Plants vs. Zombies does this too, but I think it's not quite as delicate. It has an income generating tower. So like the sunflower in Plants vs. Zombies, for example, for those of you who have played that, because I think more people have played Plants vs. Zombies than Bloons. Bloons has the banana farm. Now, the banana farm generates money. And what Bloons manages to do so successfully is create a balance where you want to build as many banana farms as possible to generate income for the late game, but you also don't want to get bodied in the early game because you haven't focused enough on your defenses and you're just generating money with banana farms. And so it creates this constant tension where, yes, you want to prepare for the late game. You want to buy as many super monkeys as possible later. So you have to have income generation. And of course, the banana farms have upgrades as well. There is a monkey bank. There's a monkey kind of, I don't want to call it a casino. I can't remember what it is exactly, but you can upgrade all these things.
Oh my God.
Monkey Wall Street, you can upgrade it to.
What?
I know.
Are there like gambling monkeys?
Yeah, but they do it over computers from 9 to 5, and it's been legitimized by their governments.
Okay. Oh, I understand. Yeah, okay. I get it. I'm sorry, man. I know it's not the point. I love how you said just start with Bloons TD6 because like there's no story, but I'm sitting here and I'm like, but it's rife with opportunity. Like what about this monkey civilization?
What's his backstory?
Like,
what is Super Monkey's origin story? We need to know.
Exactly. How did they get the property rights? Was there an argument about the casino getting installed there? Did some people think that it was gonna like, what's going on? You know, like how many monkeys are on the street because of this casino?
I will say there is no.
So cool. It sounds so much fun.
It is. It's insanely fun. Like, and when you progress, and there's depth too, man. Like these towers, you unlock them as you go. You unlock the upgrades as you go. There's so much stuff to upgrade and unlock in this game. It's ridiculous, especially with Super Monkey. Because with Super Monkey, you can unlock the plasma goggles. And then he turns into like Cyclops and he just fires lasers at the Bloons.
It's so cool.
And eventually you can upgrade it to the Temple of the Monkey God. I know.
There's a monkey god?
There's a monkey god. It's a big monkey head.
How many bananas?
Oh my God, like 100,000 or something stupid like that. Yeah. But the monkey god is like a big temple with a giant monkey head at the top. And what you do, it sacrifices all the other towers in its radius. And then depending on which towers get sacrificed, the Temple of the Monkey God gets specific powers. It's insane. Okay. It's insane. It's insanely deep. The only knock I have on Bloons TD6, there's a couple actually. One is that there's no set kind of beginning and end, so to speak. There's 3 different levels. There's 10 maps per level. You're not lacking for variety in this game. Like you will burn dozens of hours easily and still not accomplish everything that can be accomplished in this game. Right. But there's no kind of like beginning and end, so to speak. There's no ending. There's nothing kind of like that. And the other thing is that it still has that kind of like, it still kind of has that free to play veneer on it, where there's just like, you open up the title screen and there is just shit all over the place.
Yeah. Big shiny
big buttons, big icons.
Yeah.
And you have no idea what certain things do, and you have to click on it, and it's like, oh, it costs money, and hey, it's $2 for monkey money, and then you can spend the monkey money on this stuff. And it's like, with that said, you don't need to spend more than the initial outlay, which is like, you know, $10 or $3 if you get it on sale. And you can have... I was
going to say, I saw it on sale for like 99 cents a few weeks after the release, so I was thinking it's got to have a cash shop.
Yeah, exactly. So. But with that said, it is super robust even without spending a dime on it. No, you won't have any problem unlocking everything that you can unlock. Even with everything that you use monkey money for is just kind of like to speed things up or to remove annoying things. Like the banana farm, for example, you get money from the bananas that get dropped on the map. But you have to move your mouse over the bananas and manually collect them yourself. And it's like, I don't really want to just kind of look at the banana farm the whole game. I want to watch the super monkey wreck shit. That's where I want my I want my eyes to be. I want to enjoy the...
Pay good money for that super
Exactly.
monkey.
I just want to watch that beautiful devastation, but instead I'm kind of collecting bananas the whole time. So You know, that's kind of irritating, but yeah, Bloons, man. I'm all about that. So, Kelly, had you played it? I
had not. Honestly, it's weird because I had never heard of Bloons, and then all of a sudden it just seemed like everyone was playing it at the same time. So it's like I need to get around to trying it out, but it's just funny how I hadn't heard of it for years, and then all of a sudden it just seemed like everyone was talking about it.
Yeah, I can't remember which version it was that came around where, because Bloons TD, like they were cranking them out like on a yearly basis, and I think Bloons TD 5 is kind of where they took a little bit of a break, and that's kind of like, and that's a really good version too, but that might have been the one where it was really popular, like circa 2011, 2012, around that kind of age. So anyhow, that's Bloons. The next game here, Gemcraft. Gemcraft released June 2008. Kelly's laughing, and I can't wait to hear why. Gemcraft, June 2008. There's actually 5 games in this series. The latest one is Gemcraft Frostborn Wrath. And I think,
Sick
I know,
name.
right? And I think that one's like 2020 or something, like very, very recent.
Yeah, it's pretty new.
Yeah.
It's pretty recent.
But yeah, this one's developed by a dude, Game in a Bottle in Hungary. And of course, originally developed as a Flash game, because that 2007 to 2009 period, the Flash games were going crazy. And then eventually moved over to Steam. Now, Gemcraft, you've got established path and tower locations for each level. Like in Bloons, you can kind of place the monkeys virtually anywhere you want, which is great because when you hire your monkey sniper, you want the monkey sniper hiding in the bushes as far away from the path as possible, because the monkey sniper can fire anywhere on the map.
Look, you sold me already. All right, Paul, you don't have to oversell it. I know you're doing this for me. All right. You're staring right at me.
So
he's not.
In Gemcraft, the tower locations and path locations are established. Like you can't pick where you put stuff. And the towers are basically gems that have kind of different properties, and you can combine gems and make like 50% slowdown, 50% damage, or what have you. I gotta be honest, Gemcraft, not one that I really ever got into. I don't know. I just didn't really enjoy it that much. What did you guys think?
Do we want? I'm dying to hear what Kelly's gonna say, because I know there's an interesting story here. Do we want to start with Kelly, or
I should have thrown to Kelly right away. Mike, you're not that interesting.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow. No, for me, Gemcraft, I finally played it last year during the summer. Honestly, I got through about 10 levels and I was like, I really don't get it. But I needed to play this game because my husband has been obsessed with it since the beginning. When it first came out, we were still just dating and everything. And I'd hear him, "Oh, what did you do today?" "Oh, I played Gemcraft." And I hadn't seen the game. So when I was thinking Gemcraft, I was thinking Bejeweled.
Yeah,
I was thinking, it's similar to Bejeweled and everything. And then one day I actually went over to where he was and I saw him playing it and I was like, this is Gemcraft? There's like these bug things on the screen and they're just going around and I don't get it, and you're building it, and like he would sit there for hours just building these towers up, and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm on wave 3000 on this board here," and it's just at max speed, just all these bugs like just zooming around the screen.
I was gonna ask if he was playing at max speed, and you're just watching. You're like, "What the fuck?"
I was like, I just don't understand. And he would just tell me how you would build up the gem towers and what each specific gem would do and everything else. And I don't know how many hours he's put into that game, because of course it was originally the Flash game. And if you go on his Steam account, he's got hundreds of hours on it there as well.
Yeah. So good. So good.
And he was part of the initial, give money to the developer and he'll bring it out to Steam and bring out the I'm not sure what platform that Kickstarter type thing was on, but he definitely gave money to the developer to try to make sure that more of these games keep coming out.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I'm glad. Look, I'm glad he enjoyed it, because it is very popular, and it just never struck me. Like, Mike, did it strike you in a similar way, or? So
the thing, so I hadn't heard of this at all until we were sort of, and this was a while ago, because we wanted to give ourselves time to kind of play a bunch of the games and really dig a little deep. And so I saw Gemcraft just looked immediately interesting to me because it looked so weirdly utilitarian.
Yes.
But at the same time, it had such a sense of atmosphere that I was like, this is nuts. Like, it's like all the respect in the world to this dev, man, because it's clearly this labor of love that he really cares about and that he's really like, I want to make this game. This is the game that I'm making. I'm going to make this again and again, and I'm going to tweak it and refine it. It's not going to be the same thing, but this is it. And if you want in, like, oh man, is this going to be your jam? And like, but I think, you know, so all the respect in the world and like respect, you know, to Kelly's partner for supporting that, because I think that's awesome. But also more importantly, like, when I was playing it, it was the atmosphere. The atmosphere. I was playing this game about scurrying bugs and like placing gems, but between the music and the text lore, I was like, this is epic. I know. Man. This is hype. Like, what's going on? Like, there's this. I was so the version I played was called. Sorry, hang on. I have to double check because, you know, they're not numbered.
Yeah, they all have different names.
Subtitles. So the one I played was Chasing Shadows. Yeah. So not the original. So I'm sure I know it's such a good game. It's fucking awesome. I was like, Chasing Shadows. That's metal as shit. Like I'm playing that for sure. And I was playing it and I was like, this is just the atmosphere is incredible. And you know, and it's, you know, it's kind of what we were talking about. There's like a skill tree, there's like experience points and everything. And then you play through, and like Kelly was mentioning, you can adjust the speed of the waves. So if you think, oh man, I got this all unlocked already, you just turn it on full blast and watch all the bugs scurry. Yeah. And then in my case, realize really quickly, I'm doing oh
Such
God.
A trap.
Oh no. And then all of a sudden you're just like, well, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. That was my experience as well.
Yeah. You're like, man, it's really cool. I mean, I am going to confess, like, I didn't get all the way through it. And the thing is I understand, like, to me, I kind of also get what Kelly's saying. Like, I kind of bounced off it too in terms of the gameplay, but I want to make clear, I have nothing but love and respect for this game. Like, when you play it, you just completely realize you're like, this is my jam, not in terms of playing it, but in terms of respect, because clearly a labor of love, clearly somebody who gives a shit, and he's making it for people who really care about it. And like, that's always a beautiful thing, even if it's not something that I'm gonna love specifically for gameplay. And the fact that it has such strong atmosphere is just icing on the cake, man. Like, and also hard to do. Are you kidding me? I made a game about crawling bugs and I made it like epic, and it's like, hell yeah, dude, like, good for you. You know, I couldn't do that.
Right on. Well, let's move on from Gemcraft. Next up, Plants vs. Zombies. This is kind of like the big one, so to speak.
Yeah.
This one, May 2009, developed by PopCap, who you might also know as the developer of Bejeweled, you know, a little game we may have heard of.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
So Plants vs. Zombies is a little bit weird in that you have the zombies attacking always from right to left, and they attack in 5 rows, and then you set up your plants, which fire projectiles at the zombies on the left side of the screen. And so you have to protect your house from these zombies using these plants. Now, much like I said earlier with Bloons, there's a balance between kind of managing your income and actually putting plants on the field to protect yourself. You have little sunflowers. Yeah. The sunflowers give you extra sunshine, and then the sunshine is what you use to buy more plants and defend yourself, right? I would say it's almost a more simplified version of a tower defense game, but my God, was it ever popular? And it worked. Like, I think they nailed it. I think I mentioned it earlier, but like, they nailed it with that large sprite, you know, that, because there's no chance when you're on your phone that you're going to hit the wrong area or whatever. And obviously if you're on an iPad, you have all kinds of real estate. Like, I don't know, Kelly, tell me about Plants vs. Zombies.
Honestly, like I said, I got into it on the iPad because like you, I got an iPad from work at Best Buy. They were like, hey, we need you all to have iPads, so here you go.
Yeah.
So, of course, the first thing I do is download a whole bunch of games onto my iPad, because who doesn't do that? Yep. And just playing that game for hours, I think I want to say I played through all the levels just the first night I had it, just because it was so simple, but yet so fun. And just making sure that you're upgrading the right things at the right time.
Yeah.
Like, I think one time I upgraded the sunflour a bit too soon, and I was like, oh, shit. It just doesn't work. You have to wait. Yeah, so... I love the game. It really is my favorite tower defense. They put a version of Plants vs. Zombies into World of Warcraft. In Wrath of the Lich King, they had a mini game in one of the towns where it basically it set up you just set up plants and you were fighting the undead. So and there was an achievement for it, and you got a little sunflower pet. So I always think of that too.
Dying Light has an Easter egg like that too. There's a place off the recorded map where if you go there, they have a little lawn set up with a picket fence, and the zombies from Dying Light have cones on their heads and stuff, and it's just this nice, it's
right
cool.
Right on. Mike, you played it more recent. Actually, wait, before I get to you, Mike, Kelly, did your husband ever turn away from Gemcraft to make fun of you for playing Plants vs. Zombies, or was he also into it?
No, the fact that I was playing any tower defense was out positive on his end. So.
Okay. Okay. I just wondered if he was gonna be like, oh my god, Plants vs. Zombies, like Gemcraft, come on.
He can have the hardcore. That game got too hard too quick for me.
Yeah,
so I'll keep my simple strategy.
Mike, Plants vs. Zombies, thoughts?
Kelly already nailed it, man. It's so addictive, and it's so funny that you mentioned that, Kelly, about like just crushing it, mainlining it over like one sitting, because that's exactly what I did. Like I started playing it in the morning, and then I was like, oh, I'll play a couple rounds and I'll try something else, and then I looked out, I was like, oh, it's dark. Okay, cool. And then I finished it. It's so addictive. And again, I'm also laughing because Kelly already brought this up too. Like I 100% upgraded the sunflower too early. And I remember literally posting on Discord about it going, I think I fucked up. Like, I think I already fucked up. I thought I was going to min-max here and do this great strategy, and it completely blew up in my face. And what I love about Plants vs. Zombies is that it's the perfect introductory approach to this genre in so many ways.
Good point.
It's such a great simple way of sort of showing, okay, this is the mechanic, this is the basic loop of these kinds of games in this kind of simplified way, but it's still really fun, it's still satisfying, it's not difficult, and it's entertaining because it has so much charm and personality that you don't get bored, you don't get sort of bogged down by the pace of it, even when it sort of feels slow, especially at first, because like there's just so much charm and personality. And to your point, Paul, it's that balance of resource management where it's like, okay, I need to get resources to buy. I need to balance how much I'm building to also balance what I'm defending. And then on top of that, you're trying to anticipate which enemies you're going to run into, because certain plants have certain effects on certain enemies that you need to do. And like, so it's just super fun, man. Like, I mean, like Bloons, I think I love the commitment that these people have to just digging so deep. They're like, what else can we make the zombies do?
Football zombie.
What else can we add to it? There's like zombies who have shark fins on their backs and they swim underwater, and there's like big zombies, small zombies, like paragliding zombies. Like they really take it as far as it can go. And it's cool because it reminds me of Bloons. Bloons, I guess, did it first, where they were like, take the monkeys as far as we can. That's what's fun. That's what makes it stand out. Yeah,
absolutely. Nope, couldn't agree more. You guys have basically, I'm not adding anything to that. It's a fun game. Go play it. There you go.
Go play it. It's fun, man.
It's cheap, if not free, everywhere. So.
That's the thing. All these games that we've mentioned as well, and the next one coming up too, they're cheap. These are very inexpensive experiences. The next one being Kingdom Rush. Oh. See, to me, this was my intro to the genre, so it's still kind of my favorite. But at the same time, anyway, we'll get into this here in a second. July 2011, 4 games in the series. The latest one is Kingdom Rush Vengeance, which I believe was released in 2019 or 2020 or something like that.
Yeah, relatively recently.
Developed by Ironhide Game Studios. They're actually out of Uruguay. My notes are incorrect here. And published by Armor Games. And, you know, they were the tower defense people at one point, Armor Games.
Yeah.
They had the website armorgames.com, and you could play tons of different tower defense games. Let me tell you, I played them. I played them all. So in this game, no income management at all. Fixed tower placement. So you can only place your towers on certain places that are designated. Sounds very simple, but what it does is it introduces something that these other games we've talked about do not have, which is it introduces the concept of blockers. So you can place a barracks that fires out 3 soldiers, and then the 3 soldiers block the path. They fight the enemies. And so if you place other towers around the barracks, then it means that the enemies get fired upon for a longer time, while your soldiers try as hard as they can to hold out and not die.
Right.
And it sounds very simple, but it adds a layer of complexity and thought that is very welcome, in my opinion, especially since they're toning down some of the other more complex concepts like income management and so on. Kingdom Rush also has heroes. So unlike these other games, you have a hero that you control with either your finger on your phone or your mouse. You tell the hero where to go, and then they automatically fight the enemies wherever they may have slipped through your defenses. And they have powers that they use, and you also have manually controlled powers. You can drop a couple soldiers here and there that recharges over time. You know, you have other magic spells that you can use that help as well. And the latest one, Kingdom Rush Vengeance, also available on the Nintendo Switch, which, by the way, the Nintendo Switch, low-key, great tower defense system. Because, you know, if where the controller fails you, you can just touch the screen. And the screen is of a large enough size that it's very easy to go with. So I love Kingdom Rush. I think it's generally very well balanced. The second game, Kingdom Rush Frontiers, I think is the best balanced one of the series. It's one of the only games that I've ever played where I bought all the DLC, all the optional characters, because I was like, I gotta try the dragon. How can I not try the dragon? And so, you know, it's $5. I'll go buy the dragon. Which, trust me, this is shocking news. I don't buy anything like DLC. I'm EA's worst customer.
Right.
So, Mike, which one did you play?
I played Frontiers.
Okay, yeah, good. I'm glad because I love Frontiers. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, it's all good. I was gonna say that the hero system is kind of interesting, and I wonder if that spoke to any RTS fans out there because it kind of reminds me of some RTS games because I know they play around with
absolutely.
That idea of and so I feel so bad, man, but I bounce. I
can't. We're canceling this episode. I can't believe this.
I know. I hate to do you dirty like this, man, but like I bounced off Frontiers pretty hard. I understand what it's trying to do. I think it's really cool. It's definitely a game where I think everything works the way it's supposed to, and it's a great game. I just couldn't get into it. I think it was a combination of like the units were kind of too small on the screen, and I kept getting confused. I kept feeling like I was kind of not. I never understood what it was hard for me to understand what I was doing wrong when I was playing the game. And it kind of went from me being, oh, okay, I think I got a handle on this, to just getting wiped. And I know that that's the nature of it. And that's fine. But it's kind of like, I think what I realized in playing it was that it was just, whether I'm just not good enough or whether I need something a little more kind of predictable and things, like Plants vs. Zombies maybe. But yeah, I just kind of bounced off it. And, also like, and this is a totally personal thing, 100%. And I know we're going to talk about this a little later, but the kind of fantasy setting, the very stock.
Yeah.
That's mean. I shouldn't say that it's stock. That's not, there is some great art design. It's just, it's a little too kind of safe for me. Like it just doesn't excite me, and I think that's another part of why I kind of bounced off it, because I just sort of felt like, I don't know, man. It's kind of like when I look at Fire Emblem and I'm like, oh, there's dude with cape and sword, and then there's other dude with cape and sword. Three houses, don't get me wrong, 3 houses, they put a little flair, but everything
you hate
else
3 houses.
I hate Kingdom Rush and I hate Fire Emblems.
Wow.
I am canceled.
Uh-oh.
Shit.
I
post
kind
that
of
on Twitter, see what happens.
Yeah.
I kind of share your thoughts a little bit there in the style. I like it. I like the cartoony style. I like the artwork. I think it's well done.
Yeah.
But they add a ton of pop culture references into this game that, you know, some here and there, okay, but like when virtually every line that is voiced by the hero is something from a TV show or what have you.
You got to be careful.
Yeah,
with
it is a little bit oversaturated in that regard. But that's my only complaint, Mike. Only complaint about this game. And let me tell you,
I'm in the doghouse.
And let me tell you, this was the most played game on the App Store for a long time, the original Kingdom Rush. So I mean, you don't like it, but there are 15 million other people who do. But I'm sure your opinion's the correct one. So, you know.
That's okay. I'll take that.
All right. Yeah. On that sad note, we will take another break here, and when we come back, we'll get into some more complex tower defense hybrids that you should try. We're back. So next up, the hybrid tower defense game. This might be my favorite kind of tower defense game. It's so hard. There's so many, man. There's so many. So much fun to be had here in this cockroach genre.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first one to start off with, I don't know if this is the first one or what, but Kelly brought this one up to me. I had never heard of it. And that's Castlestorm. Castlestorm, released May 2013, developed by Zen Studios out of Hungary. Now, if Zen Studios sounds familiar to you, it's because they're responsible for Zen Pinball and pretty much every other freaking pinball game that revolves around some kind of IP like Marvel or Star Wars, or Plants vs. Zombies Pinball. That's actually a thing. I think it's hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But that's mainly what they're known for. But Castlestorm, you know, there's 2 games that they've made. Castlestorm, again, 2013. Castlestorm 2, released in 2020. So Castlestorm is a little bit weird. Unlike all these other games we've talked about that are a top-down view, like your average RTS game, Castlestorm is 2D. So the enemies attack on a 2D plane from right to left. And what you do is hire troops to defend your castle. The soldiers run out and they fight the enemies and try to fight them off. But mainly what you're doing is you're kind of playing this tower defense / Angry Birds or Forts hybrid. You have control of a ballista that fires on an arc based on where you move the cursor. And you fire at the enemies. You try to get headshots with the ballista, which... Look, man, I'm sorry, but almost any game, a headshot is incredibly satisfying.
Oh, yeah. With a ballista? Like, of course
I know.
With
a ballista. Like, you can hire archers, and the archers fire little arrows. But then you have a ballista. It's just like, boom, through the Viking who is attacking.
Yeah.
So... Now, this game kind of mainly like a 7th gen game. Like, it came out on the PS3, Xbox 360. It came out on the Vita, obviously on Steam. And every once in a while, the other thing you can do is you can summon a hero. And the hero you actually manually control. The hero appears for like 20 seconds or something like that. And you control it with the mouse, keyboard, or whatever you're using. and just kind of mow through as many enemies as possible, either before they killed the hero or before the hero's time runs out and he gets teleported back to the castle. I don't know what to think of this game. It's so weird, man. Like, Kelly, you have anything going on here?
I loved it.
Yeah.
So, strangely enough, I did not play this on the Vita. I played this one on the Xbox 360. It was one of the first games I remember being on Games with Gold. So, I'm sure there were games before that, because Games with Gold started before that. But it was during the era where I was an achievement hunter. So, I was looking at this game on trueachievements.com, and I was like, I can get some achievements out of this game. So, and it looks like it'll be pretty quick. And I actually really fell in love with it as I was playing it. I was way too mature at that point to be playing Angry Birds. So this was a great way to play Angry Birds without having to admit I was playing Angry Birds. It was so satisfying to throw a rock at a castle, get it hit in just the right spot, and have the whole thing collapse. So much fun. And recently I put there's a mobile version, and I recently put that one on my phone, and it's free to play. So as soon as I opened it up, I was like, hey, do you want to buy the rocks? And hey, do you want to buy this? And hey, do you want to buy the ballista? And I was just like, nope, I don't. So close it back down and rebought the game on Steam. So at some point I'll go back and revisit it, get all the achievements on Steam as well.
Yeah. Man, that free to play is such a fucking killer. Like, I know it works because they still do it.
Yeah.
But like, oh my God, man. Anytime I see it, it's just like, oh boy.
Saps
the will, everything. Right? I didn't have quite as good a time with it as you, Kelly, only because I found that I was too busy and I was too stressed. And like, because it relies on actual manual dexterity and skill, if I failed, I felt more like I failed personally, not like my strategy or my towers. Like, I can't blame my stupid people, my stupid blockers or anything like that. Like, if I failed, and I failed from time to time, it was strictly because I didn't aim well. So it was this weird like mix of super fun and satisfying shooting the ballista through the Viking's head, which sounds awful.
But
like,
awful.
I know,
awesome.
But this isn't a hyper-realistic game at all. It's got very cartoony graphics, which are actually really well done.
Yeah,
really charming.
Really nice looking game. But I didn't quite have as much of a good time with it as you. So I think
I was also impressed by how well the controller worked, because it honestly, I really am looking forward to playing it on Steam as well. But with the controller, it was still easy to aim, and maybe even easier than it would be with a mouse. I'm not quite sure.
I don't know. I find that possibility unimaginable, because like when it comes to fine aiming, like I think mouse over everything. But then I see people using controllers and they're amazing, and I'm like, well, maybe I'm wrong. Which, you know, I don't like thinking that. It's not good for my mental health.
I gotta say, Castlestorm, the fact that it's pretty interesting to me that Castlestorm 2 came out so recently.
I know, right?
And and in 2020, like 7 years after, like it's clear that there must have been a demand for it, or maybe Zen Studios were like, had such a good time making the first one, they were like, it's time, like, you know, let's make a second one. Probably a little bit of both.
Yep.
And you know, respect.
And also,
because I think it's,
sorry, Mike, to interrupt, but the pinball probably being the cash cow. Like, you probably want to be cranking those out too, right? So next up, this one might be my oh god, they're all my favorite. Like every single one, game, like Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I've actually talked about this game on the show before. Maybe like 2-3 years ago or something like that on a What Have You Been Playing? And I remember explaining it to Ozzy and Arnie, and them just being like, what on earth are you talking about? This isn't this isn't a video game. This is just a mashup of whatever. And I'm talking about Dungeon of the Endless.
Oh, man.
So Dungeon of the Endless released October 2014. This is on all platforms. You can get it anywhere now. Developed by Amplitude Studios. Amplitude Studios, you might have heard of them. They They're mainly known for their 4X strategy games, Endless Space, Endless Legend. And I gotta say, Endless Legend is like really good. Like if you want to civilize like a really competent fantasy civilization clone, Endless Legend, big thumbs up.
Yeah.
So I would say, as far as resource management is concerned, because we talked about the banana farm and we talked about the sunflowers, Dungeon of the Endless, I would say, has the most complex resource management of any of these games. Because you're kind of, because you need industry to build your defenses and your modules. You need science to research stuff in your tech tree. And you need food to keep your heroes alive and level them up, right? Yeah. And so there's this balance of like, which one do I build and so on. And I need to build towers. They're not, in this game, they're not towers. They're actually like modules, but you know, they're towers. It's a tower defense game. So it's a roguelike. So each time you play through, the map is procedurally generated. Basically, the way it works is you have a team of 4 heroes. You start off with 2, but you can get up to 4. And you move them from one room to another. Every time you open up a new room, monsters spawn, and then they try to fight their way through your defenses to reach your crystal. If they kill your crystal, it's game over. Now, every time you explore a room, there's power generated. In this game, they call it dust. But it's power that's generated, and what it does is it allows you to keep a room lit instead of dark. Yep. And any room that's lit, monsters cannot spawn in it.
Yep.
But generally speaking, in this game, there's not enough dust to power all the rooms. So each time you explore a new room, there will be dark ones, and enemies will spawn. And you have to set up your defenses in the rooms that are lit up, that are powered, in order to prevent the monsters from reaching your crystal. So the point then of a level is to find the exit, and then once you've found the exit, you have to pick up the crystal and carry it to the exit. And when this happens, the monsters lose their minds. Endless amounts of them spawn. They chase you, holding the crystal, fighting through your defenses. It is very stressful because your character moves so slow. The crystal's so heavy, and you're just like, come on, make it to the exit.
Yeah,
I love this game. I love the balance of resource management. I love all the different modules you can combine. Like, you can make these crazy combinations of modules. Like, man, there is a pepper spray module that when you spray the enemy with pepper spray, they're like, oh god, and then they have to fight other enemies. They turn against their friends, and you watch them fight each other, and it's like, yeah, that's right. I love this game. Mike, what do you think?
This game, man, it's so funny because I played it, and I'm just going to walk through chronologically my experience, okay? So, I mean, again, keeping in mind, this is one of the first tower defense games I've really dived, whatever. One of the first ones that I played. Dove into. And when I started playing it, I was like, this is the most confusing, horribly explained game I think I've ever played, but I knew at least that it was complicated, and that's why it was hard, and it was the bad tutorial, because it's complicated. There's a lot of stuff to kind of grasp and understand, because I've played other games that maybe the tutorial isn't quite so bad, but the game is actually really easy to play, but they just fuck it up so bad. And so that's why I was like, okay, that's why Dungeon of the Endless, it still got a pass. It was more funny than anything, because I was playing it, I was going, wow, what do I do? Like, it was so just like, but the thing is there's something about this game, because as soon I played through it, I played through a bunch of the game, I played for many hours, and then I put it down, and I was like, because it is endless. I mean, you can kind of finish it, but it's mostly
totally
like a roguelike thing. You can finish it, I know. I didn't finish it.
Okay, thank you. That's more accurate.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I suck, and I do have one of my nitpicks about the game is, we'll get to that, But basically, when I started playing the game and just hearing us talk about it now and seeing it on the list, I was getting so hyped. And when you were explaining all the mechanics, I was like, yeah, dude, Dungeons of the Endless is sweet. And I'm like, this is so weird to me that I love this game, even though there's so many things about it that are so obtuse. And I think that's because it's just, there's so many things happening in this game at once that the fact that it works at all is a feat of design work. The fact that it just works is mind-blowing to me. Like, this is a game that, to me, it was like a bunch of the smartest people in a room. Maybe not the best at explaining things, but the smartest people in the room were like, we want to make the craziest tower defense game ever. And then they did it. And because it's so interesting. It's the kind of game you could talk about for hours. Like, there's so many different layers to it. It's really cool. One of my beefs with it is just a stupid little nitpick. Is there's 2 difficulty settings. I believe there's normal and it's something like practice or easy mode. I remember it being very insulting. Yeah. It was very insulting. It was very like, they were very in your face about, I guess you could play baby mode if you want. Like, and I was like, I don't appreciate that, guys. Like, your game is really hard. You know, maybe it was done tongue in cheek, but still, I'm kind of like, come on, guys. But I also think, wasn't this Kickstarted?
I don't think so. Gosh, it's so hard to remember. Like, I know that remember, Amplitude basically, like, they just kind of like, the story is they got drunk one night and thought of the weirdest idea.
That's exactly what it
tracks,
feels like.
Right? Like, that idea tracks.
Yeah. That's exactly what it feels like. And they do some really cool things with the characters, where different characters, they're heroes basically. The different characters, they have different interactions with each other in between levels. And it's one of these games that is built for those oh shit like moments of like everything going wrong at once, and you think everything's okay, and then there's one thing you missed, and oh boy, does it punish you for that one thing you missed. I remember I was sending you messages about it, Paul, and the thing that one message I sent you, I was laughing so hard because it was early on as I was playing it, and what happens is when the crystal at the end gets to the exit point, the game lets you go to the next level right away as soon as the crystal's there. But the thing is that doesn't mean that everyone's in the room.
Yep.
So if all of your heroes aren't in the room and you leave, they're dead. Okay. Yes. And so it was so stressful. The crystal's coming up. I'm like, come on. And then it got there and I immediately go, yes, exit. And then right away I went, oh God. I was like, they're all dead. Like, I killed everybody. I killed everybody except the person carrying the crystal. And I was like, oh my God. And I was laughing so hard because I was just like, that's amazing that these moments can happen in this game, and that there's all these sort of little tricks and things and things you can learn as you're getting the hang of the game. And that to me is the biggest testament to, I think that's the biggest compliment I can give the game, is that it started as the most confusing thing I think I've ever played. But by the end of it, I was like, no, I get it. Like, I get it. Yeah. You know, and I was like, that's an amazing feat of engineering. And so anybody who wants to try it, I just say, just stick with it. It's going to click. Like, at some point it's going to click. You may not even be able to explain it because I can't.
Man.
If you told me explain Dungeon and the Endless to me, I'd be like, oh God, you got 2 hours? Like, and the only other thing I'll say is that, like, you have to just be okay with a gameplay focused kind of game. It does have charm and personality, but it's not meant to be taken very seriously. Yeah. That doesn't mean it's all yucks and silly, but there's definitely some fourth wall breaking humor, some kind of weird black humor, and kind of like silly jokes once in a while. So it really is a game for people that are like, oh my God, I want to play this like crazy. I can't wait. So yeah, sorry. I know I went on about it, but again, it's like you were saying, I remember playing it and going, yeah, that was really cool. Like, that was a really interesting design and cool mechanics. And then I kind of put it aside, but as soon as I saw it in the outline and you started talking about it, my blood started boiling. I started getting like, oh man, yeah, dude, this game is awesome, you know? So it's that kind of game. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it very much is. And as much as I would love to spend more time on it, I can't. We got to move on to the next one.
Yep.
Which I've also talked about on the show. These next two games I've talked about on the show on What Have You Been Playing episodes, and I'm more than happy to bring them up again. The next one is Mindustry. And Mindustry was released April 2017, PC only, developed by Anukin. It's one guy. And he basically, it's kind of like Loop Hero. I don't know if you guys remember when I talked about Loop Hero. They made Loop Hero for a game jam. And then they're like, wow, this is actually a really good idea. And then they made the game. Yeah. And same thing with Mindustry. He made it for a game jam, a 3-day game jam. And then, hey, this is actually really good. So I'm going to keep going with it. And Mindustry, look, I mean, Arnie's going to laugh at me. But like, if I'm taking Factorio and then combining it with a tower defense game, I have a game that I would, if I could like pour it into a tub and bathe in it, that's what I would do, right? Like,
yeah,
I know it's not the prettiest picture.
If you could, you pour it in a mold and make a doll, and you could hug it.
Oh my goodness,
something like that.
Is that somehow less creepy?
No, because we have these
creepy
things called real dolls or so yeah.
Don't listen to them, Mindustry.
You're not creepy.
Factorio. Tower defense. Now to be fair, Factorio does have like a base defense kind of portion of the game, but it's kind of random and it's relative to how much pollution you generate, so you can kind of control it a little bit. It's a little bit different. Whereas Mindustry, you have a timer, it counts down. When the timer counts down, you know another wave of enemies is coming, and then you beat that wave, a new timer pops up, and you know a more difficult wave of enemies is coming. And in the meantime, you're building your base, you're building your defenses. So many conveyor belts. Oh, it's a thing of beauty. The conveyor belts, you mine materials and then you create ammo. Like you put the materials on the conveyor belts, then that turns into ammunition or electrical power, and the conveyor belts send the ammunition to your towers, and it just turns into this beautiful tapestry. And what can I say? Like,
not a human being in sight.
Not a human being. Not one. They can go fuck
up
themselves, man. They're prone to error. 100%. I just want robots and conveyor belts. That's all I want.
Yep. Wow.
And also, gotta say, I didn't see this, Mike, until you pointed it out on Discord. Mindustry version 7, because they're on version 7 now. I think I played version 4 or 5, so I really should come back to it. But version 7 has the most epic trailer on YouTube. Oh my
god, it's so good. It's so good.
God, it's like a Michael Bay movie, man. Like, and this is it's a conveyor belt tower defense game, but like they have this music, and it's just like, oh my god, Mindustry. Let's take it easy here.
Yeah. It's so hype. You watch it, you're like, oh. It's like, and it's just like boxes going on conveyor belts.
Oh my goodness.
I'm paraphrasing a little. But you'll get the gist.
That's pretty much what we're talking about.
Oh, so good.
I know you guys haven't played Mindustry. I'm not going to spend too much time on it just because,
I mean, I'm looking at pictures of this game and it's giving me like anxiety just looking at it, trying to figure out.
That's like Paul's jam.
Exactly.
A game that gives someone else anxiety. Paul's like, ooh.
Have you played Dungeon of the Endless?
Yeah, have you played? Oh, it's so stressful.
So the last one here on our hybrid list, and again, these are games that take different gameplay concepts and kind of mash them together with a tower defense formula. Rise to Ruins. Rise to Ruins, early access October 14th, full version October 14th? Early access October 2014, full version October 2019. So this dude,
5
Raymond...
years.
Yeah, Raymond Deere or Raymond Dewar, I'm not sure. He's the sole proprietor of 60 Gig Games, and he worked on this game for about 5 years. This game, it's fascinating. It's borrowing from a few different games, but I think most notably it's Dwarf Fortress. So if you take Dwarf Fortress and then you combine that with a tower defense formula, you're kind of looking at Rise to Ruins. So the game itself is divided up into day and night cycles. During the day, your villagers perform various tasks. They mine, they create food in order to feed themselves, and they build walls and towers to protect you from the monsters that show up during the night cycle. And then you repeat that. There are seasons as well. So when you get to wintertime, you better have a lot of food stockpiled because you're not going to be harvesting anything. There are definitely different goals here to manage, but the main thing is just taking care of your village. And again, I can't stress this enough. You cannot manually manipulate the villagers. You can't, I mean, you can in some ways, like you can move a villager from one place to another with the hand of God, but you can't actually tell them, hey, you, John, go build that tower. You just have to have the tower as a task that needs to be done. And then depending on whether the villagers have enough food and whether other stuff is happening, then maybe Bob will go actually build the tower for you. So you have to carefully manage things so that that actually happens. Kelly, don't you dare laugh. This game's amazing.
The more complicated, the better, right?
Now,
I'll be sitting back here with my Plants vs. Zombies. Thank you.
Hey man, I have all day for Plants vs. Zombies. Nobody's dissing that. It's interesting. There's actually like a really, if you go to the Steam page for this game, there is a pretty fascinating development story from where Raymond details how he was working for Lockheed Martin as an engineer, and he would go home, learn how to program in Java, saved up a bunch of money, quit his job, made Rise to Ruins, and is like building his career on that. It's fascinating stuff. I would recommend reading it anyway. So the only issue I have with this game, honestly, is that it's a little bit frustrating to me that there's no ending to this game. You can drive the monsters back, you can make it so that fewer of them spawn, but you can never really truly eliminate them. And I spent a lot of time trying to eliminate them, not realizing that I couldn't, that the game actually never really ends.
Oh,
I don't know. Like, is this something like, do you guys like, because it's SimCity, right? Like everybody loves SimCity. Nobody complains that SimCity doesn't have an ending. But I personally find that when there's like a conflict, I want to crush my enemies and see them driven before me.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, Lamentations. Is there a credit scene so you can consider it complete?
Okay, here's what I'm going to say about Rise to Ruins. If I had played it this year for our spreadsheet of completed games, the holy spreadsheet, I would have to just kind of like say, yes, I've completed it. Because once you hit 60 hours in a game, come on, man. You got to cut me that one, right?
If there's no end game, then sure. But if there is an end game, like if there is a point where the game says, okay, that's the end of this campaign.
I guess if you like,
then fine.
If you built everything and got all the items and everything else, then maybe I'd consider it complete.
Okay.
But if it's endless for sure, I think after a certain point in time, it's like, all right, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen everything this game has to offer. I'm done. Then
yeah.
Well, I definitely felt after 60 hours with Rise to Ruins that I had reached that point.
Okay.
Because it was a situation where I was just making these very, very, very minuscule gains, working very hard to make very minuscule. You know how it is in the end game with some of these games? Like, you have these monumental leaps in the beginning, but as the game progresses towards the end, the leaps become less and less huge. So, with that said, it was still 60 hours of fun. Like, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I had no... Some of the AI pathing was a little bit frustrating. I think he may have fixed that in updates since then, because sometimes your villagers would just do stupid shit, and it's like, and I mean, I get it, they don't always kind of do what you want, but like, I had so many villagers hunting for resources outside the protection of my city walls when there were plenty of resources within the protection of the city walls, and they're just getting killed by monsters over and over. Like every time they go to pick up trash like 5 miles from town. I'm like, what are you doing? Just pick up the trash in town. That's the town. It's dirty. Pick up the trash.
They're like, let me go. I need to walk over this live volcano. I can't go around it. Man. It's like, there's some wood over there. They're
basically thinking, now those monsters are fake news. We'll just go out there and do whatever we want.
Oh,
man. So,
but I was gonna say, to your point though, Paul, with the endless stuff, I'm with you 100%, man. Like, have an ending. It's fun to kill everybody. I mean, what's funny is that that's the same thing in so many other genres too, right? Like, call it, like, how many times have you been playing, like, if you're playing Call of Duty and you just, like, you're capping a bunch of dudes who are, like, shooting at you from debris or something in this crazy war zone, and then you realize the game is just like, keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, are you serious? Like, they're just gonna keep coming?
Yeah.
Like, okay, like, there's something immediately deflating about that. It's just not as satisfying.
I think it's conflict, because SimCity, not an issue. I just want to build. I want to build my city, millions of people, as big as I can build it. But yeah, as soon as there's like a challenge to overcome, it's like, I'd like to overcome this eventually. You know what I mean? And with some finality. Kelly, am I wrong? Am I stupid here?
No, you are right on the money. Right.
Oh God, I love hearing that. That
pleases me greatly. It's not tower defense simulation. It's about the combat. It's like you're saying.
So that pretty much wraps it up for the hybrids. I'm sure that there are more out there, and I know there are more out there. Like, Kelly, is there any kind of hybrid that you'd want to see? Like, do you want to see like Street Fighter 2 with tower defense or whatever? Is there anything you can think of?
Not really that I can think of right now. No.
I know, me neither. I like it when they show up, but I'm just not creative enough. Mike, how about you? Anything you can think of?
It's such a tricky question, man. Like, I had trouble with this too, because it's like, it's such a weird genre in itself that, like, seeing how it would combine with another genre, another IP, is always kind of strange.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's easier to think of an IP that it could fit with, maybe, and then it sort of opens up a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
I inevitably always think of, like, Aliens, man. I don't know why, but, like, when it comes to, like, especially tower defense type gameplay, like waves of attackers. Orcs are cool, I guess, but you know what's cooler than that? Like, aliens who want to eat my face. Like, there's just something, and I think there's more of a horror angle too that you could do with that. Like, that's what I'd love to see. I'd love to see one that, similar to Dungeon of the Endless, maybe in vibe, but, sort of a sci-fi setting, but, kind of amps up more the horror angle, takes itself a little more seriously, and it's a little more about resource management and cutting off supply chains or routes that the aliens can take, which I'm sure exists, by the way. I'm sure this fucking game exists. I just don't know it's there. Maybe someone will tell me. Just go play this, idiot.
On Steam, I'm sure. So
yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, if they've thought of it, it's definitely on Steam. So one last thing here, real quick. Our last section with the standard tower defense games, I just got to give some honorable mentions there. I forgot to mention this, but Pixel Junk Monsters, that was recommended to me by a dear friend and patron Jay. I played through it. That's a pretty fun game. Space Run is really different. I highly recommend that one if you find it on Steam. The sequel, a little bit less so, but the original Space Run, fantastic. We mentioned Defender's Quest, Valley of the Forgotten. I recommend that one highly as well. Incursion, Cursed Treasure 2 on mobile or iPad. I don't think Incursion's on Steam, unfortunately. Neither is Cursed Treasure 2, but if you want free tower defense games on mobile, Incursion and Cursed Treasure 2 are fantastic. And if you have a Nintendo Switch, or you can find these on Steam as well, Dungeon Warfare and OTTTD, which stands for Over the Top Tower Defense. That one is also a lot of fun. I highly recommend all those as well. So
can I throw out one or two? That's cool. So just really quick, this is more a plug for a future game. I say plug. I don't know fucking anybody at Amplitude. Jesus. But the sequel to Dungeon of the Endless is coming.
Yes, it's on my wish list.
I believe it's called Endless Space. And it's funny because when that trailer came out, I saw some of my friends and people I know, they exploded. They were like, oh my God, yes! And I was like, what's Endless Space? Like, why are you guys freaking out about this generically named game? And then I figured out the Dungeon of the Endless lineage, and I was like, oh shit, this might be really
I have to correct you. Endless Space is a 4X game. 4X strategy.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
What you're thinking of is Endless Dungeon.
Oh,
Endless
my bad.
Dungeon
Sorry.
is the sequel.
Endless Dungeon. My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. And the other one was, and I haven't played this, so this is just one that I thought looked neat, but I wanted to shout out to. And I showed this to Paul. I showed this to Paul last night, and we were both like, "Shit, this actually looks kind of cool." There's this game on Steam called Witch Explorer that looks like this kind of neat little hybrid of like a shmup, almost like ActRaiser style gameplay, where you control this hovering character shooting guys. And mixed with sort of tower defense elements, and it looks kind of cool. Yeah. So that might be something neat to check out. But
in that vein, X-Morph tower defense as well, kind of like hybrid shoot 'em up, hybrid shoot 'em up TD. That's another one, and that one I didn't take to that one, but it also had to do with like the visual style didn't really appeal to me, and so on and so forth. But yeah, if you want like that kind of hybrid, those two definitely worth mentioning. All right, break time. When we come back, we'll wrap it up with the third/first person hybrids. Stay tuned. And we're back. All right, we're going to wrap things up here with probably what is now maybe the most popular version of the tower defense game, because it takes the tower defense formula and kind of wraps it in these familiar graphics and familiar settings. And that's the first/third person tower defense game. Now, with this genre, I think the common thread here with all these third person tower defense games is, first of all, the map is closed in, right? Like it's not an infinite map. This isn't like an open world kind of game. You've got a closed in map. Generally, it's not very large. There are either one or a few main paths for the enemies to follow to reach your crystal or your treasure or castle or whatever kills you. So again, not an open space. In this genre, the towers, they're not really towers. Like usually it's kind of, big towers in these games, or I guess gems in Gemcraft or flowers. What am I even talking about? In these third person ones, though, generally the weapons are kind of human sized or a little bit bigger, and they're placed throughout the map. So they don't resemble towers per se, but they are automated. And you can also place traps. The traps usually not lethal, but they do things like cover enemies in oil. So when your flamethrower tower sets them on fire, they take more damage. Or maybe you have a trap that makes the enemies run more slowly, so they take more damage from your towers. You create these combinations as you go through. Usually, the traps and the weapons are laid on the ground, but sometimes you can place them on walls, you can place them on ceilings. Because it's first/third person, you have this 3-dimensional field to play with and come up with new ideas. And most importantly, you control a player character, either in first-person view or third-person view, and you can run around the map firing like you would in that kind of game. Either you attack with a sword or a bow and arrow or a gun or whatever the case may be, and whatever section of the map is failing because your towers weren't good enough, you run over there and you fight the enemies yourself.
Yep.
Probably the best way to play tower defense co-op. Now, with respect to a game called Legion Tower Defense 2, which I was going to play for this show. That one is co-op and versus, not first or third person view. Basically what I'm saying is Legion TD2 might actually be the best co-op experience. I just haven't played it yet.
Right.
And I tried downloading it in preparation for this episode, and it wouldn't run on my computer because it was dumb. It's not due to system requirements. It's just because of the vagaries of how I've set up my computer. I messed things up, and I can't play Legion TD2, which really sucks because I wanted to play it with my buddy.
Yeah.
But anyway, what are you going to do? So that said, these games, great way to play co-op because you're each controlling a character and you're running around, you're doing stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did this start? How did this idea even begin? I can tell you it began with a game called Dungeon Defenders. So this one was released December 2010, mobile only, and then October 2011. Yeah, mobile only first, and then a year later on other platforms. There are 2 games in the series. Dungeon Defenders 2 was released 2015, developed by Trendy Software out of Florida. And now what's interesting here is that it reminds me sort of of Warcraft 3 with the whole genre altogether, because basically this game was released sort of as a tech demo for what could be done with the Unreal 3 engine. It wasn't It wasn't like, it's not like, Epic is like saying, hey, here's a great engine. It's not just first-person shooters you can build with this thing. And so they had a contest, who could build a different kind of game using this engine. And Trendy Software released a game called, I think it wasn't called Dungeon Defenders, but it was something very similar, something very generic. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes place in a fantasy setting. You can use things like magic. You have like a wizard or an archer and stuff like that. The only knock I have on Dungeon Defenders is its sequel, which I sat down to play with a buddy of mine last year, and I was excited. And I'm like, sweet, I'm going to play Dungeon Defenders 2. I liked the first one, but it went completely free to play.
Oh,
so exactly. It's pay to win. Free to pay, play to win.
Man.
Yeah, I noticed that too, because the original Dungeon Defenders, I've got a few people that I wanted to try it with online, but they're like, we're not sure if it's quite your game type of game. So I went and looked at Dungeon Defenders 2, and they're like, no, you don't want to try that one. You will definitely not like the series if you try that one first.
I'm saying, right? Like, I mean, it created this awkward situation where I was at my buddy's house, and eventually, if we kind of wanted to progress, we'd have to start spending money. But we're playing on my buddy's PS4.
Yeah.
And it's his money. And so like I'm not gonna be yo, can you buy some gems so we can keep going? You know what I mean? Either he's going to or he's not. And I'm not gonna ask. I'm not gonna fuck, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
For sure, it was a little bit awkward where you have this free to play, co-op thing. So that's Dungeon Defenders. You can play the first one. It's great. The next one, Sanctum Tower Defense. So Sanctum Tower Defense, April 2011, they released 2 games. Sanctum 2 came out a couple years later, May 13th. This was the first game out of Coffee Stain Studios. You might know Coffee Stain Studios. They're out of Sweden. They're the guys who made Goat Simulator.
Nice.
Wow.
I'm saying. And then later Satisfactory, which is 3D Factorio. These guys are magicians, man. Like such great ideas. Now, I haven't played this one. Much like with Dungeon Defenders, this was created as a mod for Unreal 3. This one completely different though, in that it's got like a futuristic feel. First person, you're holding guns, you're using technology, like, futuristic looking stuff. Mike, any thoughts on this one?
I just played it briefly. Because, again, at the time, and I'll be honest, it was the aesthetic. Like, at the time, the aesthetic looked really cool, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of neat. It had nothing to do with what the gameplay was. I just was kind of like, oh, this looks cool. And I don't remember too much about it. I apologize. Like, I obviously bounced off it. But like, it's what I think it's so interesting about the Unreal thing, because now that I know a bit more about game engines, this kind of makes a ton of sense that Unreal did this, because they obviously had a rep with a lot of other developers where it was like, okay, if you're making a game with chest high walls where you need to take cover and pop up and shoot things in third person or first person, Unreal's got you covered, baby. But it makes sense that they were like, how can we can't just cater to this, like, you know, we want it to be more robust, and certainly now it's way more robust. And so it makes plenty of sense that they had people trying out this weird stuff. And it also makes sense why those games felt that way. Because now when I remember Sanctum, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. It feels like an Unreal game. Got it. You know? And Sanctum 2, I remember Sanctum 2 came out, and it was a big deal at the time. Like, it had a decent amount of hype around it, and people were stoked for it. I think it was definitely, like you're saying, it was this crossover title that got a lot of people who might not have been interested in it into elements of tower defense.
Yep. Because you're playing something more familiar, and frankly, something better looking. Like, I mean,
yes,
people are going to look at Kingdom Rush, and they're going to look at these tiny little monsters, and it's like, or Gemcraft with its bugs. And it's going to be like, no, thank you. But something like this, they're kind of like Trojan horsing in this entire genre into, into a third person shooter that we're all familiar with, right?
Because that trope again of an endless horde, that's awesome. You know what I mean? And that's carried over from other genres too. Like, how many games have a horde mode? I mean, shit, man, Gears of War has a mode called horde mode, like, so it makes sense that, all of a sudden we're putting that name and we're shifting it over, like you're saying, this Trojan horse style. It makes sense that people would be all of a sudden like, oh, this is cool, man. Fighting against an army of bugs, and I can see it happening. It's not just
top down,
from above.
Yeah. Now, my personal favorite, for this genre, the amount of games is like endless, right? Yeah. I'm like, we're talking about some of our favorites here, some of the most popular. And in this particular subgenre, the first person / third person, I'm sure there are plenty more. My personal favorite, though, Orcs Must Die. I love the title. I love the look.
Yeah, such a great title.
So released October 2011. There are 3 games in the series. Orcs Must Die 3 was released July 2021. Although it was released July 2020 on Stadia. It had a year exclusivity on Stadia, which I was like, wow, really? I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's a selling feature for Stadia if I had known about it,
right?
Which I didn't. So there you go. But I was hyped, man, for Orcs Must Die 3. And so this game developed by Robot Entertainment. They're in the US. They're made up of former members of Ensemble Studios, who you might know from Age of Empires or Halo Wars.
Big names.
Yeah, big names. So if you're gonna look, you can play any game in this series, in my opinion, and have a lot of fun. I most recently played Orcs Must Die 3. God damn, that game is fun. I played it for like 3 hours straight with a buddy of mine at his place. We were playing local. Orcs Must Die 3 introduces this, I don't even remember what the mode is called. It's like a war mode or siege mode or something like that. But basically, instead of like a slow-ish drip or waves of enemies, it just sends dozens and like over 100 enemies at once. And the map is bigger, and it feels like armies fighting. Like it's like Lord of the Rings movie style skirmishes. And so one player can like man a siege weapon, which is like an exploding ballista, which I was doing because it was awesome. And my buddy was running around like hacking and setting up defenses and stuff. Man, it was so much fun. Also so much fun because of the ragdoll physics. Like, when you kill an orc or make an orc explode, they don't explode into bloody giblets. What they do is they just get tossed like 20 meters, and they're hilarious. So they like tumble through the air. There are traps you can set on the floor that are catapults, and then when the orc runs on the catapult, they just get launched, and it's it's so fun. My goodness.
Every time.
It kills me every time. So yeah, I don't know, Mike, any thoughts on this one too?
Orcs, to me, it's like this might be reductive, so I apologize in advance. But to me, Orcs Must Die is like Plants vs. Zombies, but the third person edition. Like if you want a gateway kind of entry into this that's going to be fun, full of charm, full of heart, full of laughs, like this is it. It's just, there's a weird like Ash from Evil Dead vibe, especially to the main character. Yeah. I mean, I played the first one. I don't know if there's added characters in the later ones, but in the first game, I got these Ash Evil Dead vibes from playing as this guy, as these silly orcs are running at you, and it's just like you're saying, man. Like the catapults and the floor springs and floor traps, and you're flinging orcs everywhere into pits, and they're all screaming like ah! These like cartoon. It's just so much fun, and you're like, man, this is so amazing.
Yeah,
like, it's just a super fun game, you know, and it's just like Plants vs. Zombies. You can play it a little bit at a time. You can find yourself getting sucked into it. You know, there's interesting skill trees you could still make. You still have to make really cool decisions based on the enemies. The map layouts are really smart. Yep. But even in the first one, they're already playing with verticality. They're playing with multiple pathways. They're playing with portals that act as shortcuts. It's smart, man. Like the level design is good. You know, it's not this throwaway silly game. And so I think anybody who thinks it's kind of looks remotely interesting, like, man, give it a shot. I don't know, like, Paul, is it the kind of game, not that there's like this deep story, but is it the kind of game where you can kind of pick up anyone, or is it sort of like just start with 3? And is there a big difference in terms of the quality of life and the polish between them, or is it just kind of like get whatever one is cheapest and you'll have a great time? Like what's the vibe?
You can start anywhere. Yeah, you can start anywhere. Yeah. I've played 2 and 3. I haven't played the first one, so it's funny that you've played the first one. But having played 3, I could go back to 2 in a heartbeat. Right? I'm not going to say it's the same game. They add things to 3.
No, of course not.
But it's not so vastly improved that 2 is unplayable. Like not even close. They're both very playable. 3 just adds a little bit extra.
I gotta think the performance up boosting and the power of the console too makes for like way bigger, more intense, epic battles, like you're saying. Yeah. Because I don't think in the first one it definitely wasn't like that. In the first one there was still a lot of guys and it was still carnage and it was fucking awesome. But like it definitely wasn't like these open-ended things. And so yeah, there's that. But it's fun, man. Like it's just fun.
I know.
You know?
Killing orcs.
Orcs must die.
They must die. They can't live.
Yeah, they gotta die. Who wants orcs around? Nobody.
Title says exactly what you need to know.
Yeah. What more do we need? Iron Brigade. Mike, you have a couple minutes on that?
Yeah, just, like kind of like I mentioned before, like Iron Brigade was kind of one of the earlier games that I played with it, and strictly based off the fact that I was kind of a Double Fine fiend at the time and really excited for Brutal Legend that was coming, which ironically, has some tower defense elements in it, But Iron Brigade is just like, it's smart, it's well done, it's fun. It's an early live arcade game, so it's not super long, but it has a ton of polish. It has, like a ton of charm, enough kind of customizability with the mechs. I mean, to give some context, you basically control, it used to be called Trenched. That was the original name for the game, was Trenched. And then it changed to Iron Brigade. I'm not sure why. Like, it was obviously a legal thing, but I can't remember exactly why. But you're in a mobile trench and you're in a mech that looks like a trench that you kind of has legs basically. And it's just, there's some customizability there. And it's exactly what you were saying with Orcs Must Die. There's this level of like, plant traps, do that stuff. But at the same time, you can run around and kind of take care of business yourself as well. And you have to balance those things because neither one is going to eliminate enemies completely. And you got to sort of balance between the two. And I think where the game shines is, again, in its charm and its story. It's like this cool alternate World War II where these aliens invade, and they call them tubes because they're like they're monsters made out of tube TVs.
Oh my god, that's funny.
They call them the tubes, and it's basically like you play this guy. you play this soldier who's taking orders from a guy in a what's the fucking word for it? Like in the Big Lebowski, when the guy is in in an iron lung, he's just a head. No, sorry. He's just lying down in an iron lung. And so he's giving you orders as he's lying down, and he's still smoking a cigar in this big metal iron lung contraption. Great. And he's like, get to it, soldier. It's fantastic. It's so much fun. So
that's the main reason I want to play it. Is not necessarily because of the gameplay, but because it's Double Fine. And so I know the presentation is going to be top notch. And the thing about games like Sanctum, Orcs Must Die, Dungeon Defense, no story. Charm, especially with Orcs Must Die, but no kind of story, nothing like that. So I'm looking forward to one day trying Iron Brigade. I did buy it, didn't have enough time to play it before this episode, although I know you had. So but it's funny you mentioned the aesthetic there, this kind of like World War II-ish, because that's really actually quite rare in this genre. Like you're either kind of going like super futuristic, like Defense Grid, or like I mentioned before, X-Morph Defense, or you're going fantasy, like Kingdom Rush, or like Plants vs. Zombies. I mean, that's just ridiculous and awesome, and Super Monkeys. So like, I don't know, Kelly, like what aesthetic do you think benefits this genre the most?
The one I like the most, basically, I like the more cartoony graphics for myself. I don't know, maybe it just makes it seems more accessible. I'm not a heavy player of this genre, so I want it to look like something I can play and get into pretty much immediately, and I don't know, that aesthetic for me. If I had to pick a secondary, it'd probably be the medieval. I don't know, medieval just kind of does it for me for that type of when I think tower defense, I think towers of castles and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Mike, what do you think?
I think Kelly brings up a really good point with the sort of more stylized, kind of cartoonish visuals, because there's such good feedback there. There's such good opportunities for like slapstick comedy, like we're talking about the orcs flying around and stuff. Like there's great opportunities for that kind of feedback, and that can be such a game changer in terms of these games and keeping engaged and seeing what kind of wacky things happen next. So like with me, it's funny because on one hand, I love that too, and I think Kelly put it perfectly, but I also, to me, it's the sci-fi, man. I'm always going to be more of a sci-fi than a medieval fantasy guy. And again, like, you make a game where, I'm Ellen Ripley and I'm and I'm ordering, if I'm Ellen Ripley and I'm ordering around the Space Marines as they're sealing up vents, and then we think we got it all covered, but then all of a sudden they're coming through the goddamn walls, man. Like all of a sudden that happens. I am in, dude. I am in. And I know some of like, I think 40K, like, or 40K Space, 40K,
Warhammer
I think
40K,
has Space Hulk. I think Space Hulk has some elements of that, but it's not as refined as I'd like. But man, that would be sick. Just stuff like
interesting.
That, is kind of for me up the horror angle. That's what I'd love.
I also think the cartoony way, though. I think that's like, I'm with you, Kelly. There's something about the accessibility there. Because when I, like, for example, like a game like Defense Grid or like Anomaly Defenders, they're very shiny and metal, and there's just not much opportunity for any personality there. Like, I think somebody who has never played this kind of game before, if you give them Bloons or you give them Defense Grid, one has monkeys. And I know what choice I'm making, right? So, yeah, I think I prefer that more. The only exception would be what Mike said, if they made an Aliens-specific game like this, then I'm on board, because that's different. That's a little bit grittier, and it's a known IP, and then I can do that. But inevitably, I just tend to have more fun when it's kind of like this cartoony aesthetic, and I think it makes for a more accessible game to the masses as well. Like I could be wrong. Like maybe most people prefer something a little bit more sterile looking, a little bit slicker. But for me, it's the cartoon aspect. And I don't know, man. I both hope these games continue getting made, and am incredibly confident these games will continue getting made, because it's been like 12 years now, or 12, it's been like 15 years now since that like first kind of explosion, and these games are still coming, and I feel great. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I can finally out myself as the scrub gamer that I've always been. I love this genre. I love these games. Like, yeah, I don't know, like, Kelly, what do you think? Like, what is it about these games? Why do they keep getting made?
It's a very simple concept that really works. I mean, you're just sitting there defending, and wave after wave of enemies. They can go on forever, really. And just going from one aesthetic to the next, it can feel like a whole new game, even if it's a very similar thing that you're doing.
Yeah. I don't know, Mike, do you have any thoughts on that?
So, like, some of my favorite gaming memories are about fighting overwhelming odds in this incredibly epic sort of confrontation, and that goes beyond genres, right? Like, it doesn't matter if it's a bunch of different genres. Like, you know what scene everybody remembers? Resident Evil 4. You always remember the opening scene. You're overwhelmed, Chainsaw Man. You remember you're in the house with Luis and Ashley, and Capcom nailed it to a T, because it's just that moment when you feel like, oh shit, that it stops. You know, that it's just like, as soon as you, and it's like, tower defense is literally a genre that is built around that. It's built around this feeling of you are always going to be under siege somehow. And there's that satisfaction of like, dude, I just mowed down an entire colony of bugs. Like, they're all dead, you know? It's like they came at me, come at me with whatever you got, you know, like I'm gonna defeat this. And whether it's a feeling of empowerment at the end of beating the wave, or whether it's just you just destroy the wave from moment one and you're just like, that was easy. Like, whichever it is, that sense of being a tactician and automating this process and beating it, like, that is addictive, you know? Like, it just feels amazing.
It really is.
I think there's always going to be, what's interesting to me is going to be where it goes in terms of like what other genres get mixed in and how they kind of maintain that sense of pacing and feedback, because like, I'm sure some games have fucked it up, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, they'll be like, oh yeah, it's an action game and it's a tower defense. And then you play it and you're like, okay, the action feels like shit and the tower defense feels like shit, you know? So it's going to be interesting to see like who takes it to another level, but also like who refines it.
Yeah.
Who refines what's already there, you know?
Yeah. To build on that, I would say my happiest moments are the ones where I finish a level with 1 life left, or like in Dungeon of the Endless, like if my crystal's been attacked and I lose power but somehow make it through. Mm-hmm. But also a close second are the levels where it's just a dominant performance, and I oh my god, it's so much fun just watching the towers like mow shit down and never be in danger. Because like a lot of these games, the towers just do fun things. Like the one kind of mechanic that I'll never get tired of is the tower that makes enemies fight each other. Because like it just makes me laugh so hard. Yeah. That and the teleport. Yeah. Because like there are games where you have towers that teleport the enemies back in line, and sometimes you have really big slow enemies, and it's like, oh, how am I gonna kill this guy? Well, you just put in a teleporter, and then they can never get through. The teleporter recharges because they're moving so slowly. They're so big. God, there's just so much to it, and you know it's. I gotta look at this genre, and like to make a top-down tower defense game, like if I'm a new developer, this is I don't know, I think this is a way through the door personally. Like I think that's why these games will just keep getting made. You know, there's a very low barrier to entry here. Am I off?
No, I think that's really right. I mean, simple.
As long as you got a good AI programmer. Yeah. As long as you got a good AI programmer. Like you got a good friendly AI programmer, a good pathing programmer, then yeah, you know, and it's also it's a guaranteed, I shouldn't say guaranteed obviously, but like it's a hardcore niche audience that you can make a statement in, that you can make something fucking cool and interesting, and it will get the fans excited and then they'll kind of propagate that, you know, and it's something that you can do, you know, with a little less money. But again, you know, just make sure the AI is good, man, because you'll get eviscerated if it ain't, you know, like it's like your guys start going into live volcanoes. You're going to be like, oh, man.
But it depends, though, like on a game with a set path, like a Kingdom Rush.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know
what I mean?
You
know, your towers have a certain amount of DPS no matter what.
Yep.
And that makes it a simple entry, I would think.
I love how you put it with it's either snatching victory from the jaws of defeat at the last second, or it's just absolutely steamrolling everything, and you're just like, this is the best. And then even better is when you think you're doing one, but then you're really doing the other. So you're like, oh, this is a joke. This is a joke, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm dead.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, that's pretty good, Mike. Too. But
yeah.
Lining up those flowers that fire 3 pellets along 3 lanes.
Absolutely.
And just getting a bunch of those and watching the zombies just like
drop,
massacred. Just massacred.
So good.
Like,
so good.
It's like, why do you even bother? Because you're there. You're like, why do you even bother? Just go home. Just go home. Like, don't. Come on. Like,
all right. Well, that about wraps it up for this tower defense episode. I think, I don't know, maybe in a year or two we might do another one, because there's just so many of these games, and I can tell you with full confidence, every game we've talked about today, I you know, it gets the seal of approval. You will have fun with any of these, no matter what you're looking for. Even though I don't really like Gemcraft, but I have it on good authority that Gemcraft is good. So, you know, but what can I say? Again, everybody, thanks so much for listening. If you're looking for us, linktree.com/regionfreegamers. All of our links are there. Discord, Patreon, all that good stuff. Thank you so much to our patrons. Thank you so much to our listeners in general for listening. Mike, Kelly, thank you very much. And thank you, Andrew.
Thank you
for suggesting this episode. Yes. This was a blast, and I'm so happy that I don't have to hide my shame anymore.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Andrew. Brand new genre for all of us.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care.